Hi mamas. So today we are talking about my story and how to build the modern village. So if you're not in the right headspace, maybe come back to this episode later. This is your trigger warning. If you need to get involved or speak to anybody, please reach out and speak soon.
This is an advertisement for BetterHelp. We love talking about everything on here, hearing all your stories and offering up our advice. But we aren't professionals, are we, Kayleigh?
No, we are not. And that's where BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp is the leading online therapy platform.
You will be able to work with a therapist that is specifically assigned to you based on your individual needs, preferences, and location.
You can communicate with your therapist via phone, video, and live chat. Plus, you can message your therapist whenever you like.
We've both been in therapy in the past and always recommend therapy to our listeners. Whether you're going through a lot or just after some human maintenance, BetterHelp can be there for you.
BetterHelp makes therapy a lot more accessible, and even more so with a month's worth of free therapy. Up to 4 sessions when you sign up to be a Mama Social member. After your free sessions, you'll also receive 15% off future usage.
Head to mamasocialcode.com/become a member to sign up or head to the link in the show notes. Hi everyone and welcome to Mama Social, the podcast. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Kayleigh, and we're here to talk motherhood, womanhood and all things adulthood.
So grab yourself a bev and enjoy.
On today's episode, it is a solo episode. If you win or if you lose this award, it means nothing to Mama Social Co. I feel like everybody needs to get out and put themselves in awkward situations that is going to change their existence, give them something to be excited about. I'd like to phone Julie. Julie is my right-hand woman.
Through the different seasons of our lives, we need different people, and it's also good to know that if you don't have anybody, that's okay, because you might be in a season that those people you knew before or were connected to before don't fit that criteria of the person that you need right now.
I've just had the worst morning ever, and it just got worse and it got worse, and then it got worse again.
Right, let's start from the beginning. Hello and welcome to Mama Social, the podcast. On today's episode, it is a solo episode in a little bit of a way, because our Lauren, we need to talk about good car hygiene and tyre health, because she's had a blowout and we can't get the recording in any of our schedules the rest of the week. So we're thinking on our feet, aren't we, girls? And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the podcast show notes and everything, and also ring our Loza to find out how her week's been. I can tell you that it will be all to do with the stress of her Monday morning. But should I give you my little pits and peaks first, or should I wait for Lauren? What should we do? Wait for Lauren? Some interaction from the production team. Let's call Lauren. Right, Sam, tell us when you're ready.
Here's the recovery man. I'm going to have to leave.
Here's the recovery man, Sam.
Hello.
The recovery man, stand up.
Found it. 2 seconds. Right. No, I haven't found it. I'm not that good, of course.
Put him on the podcast. So when we can get Lauren on the old blower, when she's not underneath a car speaking to a recovery man, we'll speak to her. So I will give you my little pits and peaks of the week, and then I would like a lot of engagement. Pits and peaks. This is obviously the first time that I've done it solo, so, I'm just going to be talking to myself. It's like I'm in the shower all over again, talking to myself about lots of things. So my pits and peaks of this week, I had them wrote down, and I actually wanted Lauren's opinions on them, but I want your opinions on them. My pit of the week was my husband. So was my husband, God bless him, I don't know if it's just my husband. He is totally in the habit of leaving everything to the last minute. So what he does is, we were at Blackpool for an awards evening on Friday. So when do you think Dale went for his suit? 2 hours before we were leaving to go to Blackpool. And he hates shopping. So we went in and he's huffing and puffing and can't be bothered to try anything on. And I'm like, this is not what I was supposed to be doing 2 hours before I was supposed to be going somewhere for an awards do. So anyway, we're bitching at each other, having a bad time. Ended up getting the suit at 2 different stores. A suit jacket from one, shirt from the other, pants from another. It was mental. Anyway, got home, he decided he needed his head shaving and face shaving at the Turkish barbers. So he went, I packed everything. Everything was at the front door. We got in the car, huffing and puffing at each other, swearing slightly, and started driving down, got an hour away. By this point, we were back to our normal selves. We were having a laugh. We were talking about anything and everything, excited about the day. And then his mum rang and said, I've just got here and there's a bag. Have you left a bag? And I looked at him. I was like, what have you left? And she said, well, it's some new shoes, like dress shoes, socks, shirt and a tie. And I was like, are you kidding me? And he just started shouting, put the phone down. And he was like, well, that's me not going. Ring Julie. Julie is who works for Mama Social, who lives like half an hour away from Blackpool. He was like, ring Julie, I'm not going. I've had enough. I'm too stressed for this. And he was going on and on. And I was like, how? How have you left that bag? Like, it was right next to the door. Like, I shouldn't have to be spoon feeding every single thing for you. Anyway, I Googled suit shops near our hotel and he had to go and buy a whole new outfit. So the worst thing was, he was laughing because he was like, I'll be able to take them back. And I was like, no, I bought them and it was only store credit. So, like, irritating that I can't return them. He's never going to wear these, like, dinner suit dress shoes. Like, annoying. So, please let me know if your husband is one of these or if your husband is the like, control freak, got everything pulled together, because I aspire to be with that person and I just can't have that person because I've got this person. That was my pit of the week. Unnecessary stress from a grown-ass man. My peak of the week was just that it was a really good week. It was really good, but apart from that, we had a lovely night on the Friday. We didn't win the award, but that's okay. I'll tell you this story I told Lauren this morning, so I'll tell you guys. Just as they were starting to announce our category, and it was a big fancy dinner suit, ball gown, shizness. A little bit too pretentious for me, but that's okay. He leant over and he went, how are you going to feel if you don't win? And I was like, cheers. Like, I'll feel shit. And he went, why? And he started looking around and he has these beautiful moments of like clarity and joy. This is why I married him. And he was like, why? He was like, if you win or if you lose this award, it means nothing to Mama Social Co. This award is not going to propel you in the growth and the plans that you have for Mama Social. So care less. And he was like, the reason it would feel shit is for your own ego. And I was like, yeah, you're right. He was like, there's a change in the landscape of parenthood. Don't care about these little things. And I was like, oh, I love you. Like, that was just what I needed at that time of like, why am I like nervous about somebody reading a name out? You either win or you don't. And it actually means nothing. And that takes us lovely onto the theme of the week. But there is a parent and fail before we go to the theme of the week. It's really weird that I'm just talking to this camera when there's other people in this room. So I'm like, it's really unnatural to be like, I'm talking to this bush. You're right next to a bush, by the way, this camera. I'm talking over here. when there is humans over here. So, parent Phil, my mum and dad picked Freddie and Eva up on Tuesday. And I got to my mum's and Eva was in her pyjama bottoms and no top by about 5:30. I was like, has she been in the bath? Have you been over and got her pyjamas? And my mum was like, no. And we all know Tina by now. We know I'm going to get a bit of shade about something at any time. And she was like, no. And I went, what? She went, Eva, tell Mummy what happened. And I was like, no, you just tell me, your daughter, what happened. She went, well, she's come in. And I went, Eva, what have you got down your trousers? And she went, oh, my mummy. And she said she pulled her trousers down. She went, my mummy forgot to take my pyjama bottoms off. So what I've done this morning is I've put her t-shirt on, and because she wears little white polo tops now that are like they are school polo tops, they're quite long. So in my madness of getting them ready, I've just pulled her knickers over the top of her pyjamas and not took her pyjamas off in the like little shorts. And then I've just whipped her trousers, her little leggings up and over as well. So she's walked around with like some sumo wrestler pants around her knickers. So basically, setting the scene, she had trousers on, her knickers on, and then her pyjamas underneath. And Eva was saying, my mum said, did you not ask anybody to take them off, Eva? She said, no, they're comfy. I've enjoyed them. They're comfy. I've had something to sit on. They're comfy. So went in the next day at nursery and I was like, God. I was like, I was walking around her bedroom with her pyjama top in my hand going, where's her shorts? Where's her shorts? They were clearly just still on me child. And they said, we tried to take them off her. And she said, no, my mummy dressed me like this, so I'm keeping them on. So I felt shit about that, didn't I? So that's my little sharing. But going back to our theme of our week, which is modern family. Traditional family versus this new way of living. They say it takes a village to bring up a child, right? And I'm like, oh, I cringe when I hear that. It's weird because I'm like, it doesn't give it justice to what we actually need. It's like, it takes a village to bring up a child. But it actually does. So what do you do when village life is a thing of the past? Because it isn't how we were brought up, knowing like two doors down. Me and Lauren were talking about this the other week. You knew like everybody in your street. 2 doors down was your Auntie Sylvia, who wasn't really your auntie, but you could knock on. And that's a thing of the past, especially how everybody moves away and works away. Like, you guys, like, I'm pointing at the girls in the room, like, Sam's from Texas and she's over in little old Newcastle. Like, it's how do we build that new village? So they say it takes a village to bring up a child. But what do you do when village life is a thing of the past? You join Mama Social. So that, for me, is we give you the opportunity to create, we give you the opportunity of a community, to join a community, but then you create your village. That village might be one mum that you've met or one grandma. I know there's a couple of the grandmas that go and she's like become the like mothership to a lot of their mums that go on this particular walk. Big shout out to Sue. So how do we do that and why do we do that? I think, right, we were talking about this in the office, that online platforms are everywhere at the minute. You know, you can hop in a Facebook group or hop on a join a thread or whatever where you feel, a WhatsApp group, you feel like you're connected. But I just don't think that's enough. I don't think, pushing my glasses up, that it's enough to combat the isolation and the loneliness that I've felt through motherhood at any time. Like most of you, if you've been a die-hard listener from the beginning, you would have got to that episode where I talk about what actually started Mama Social Core and how I was this woman who was so confident and so outwardly happy and had the world at her feet. But deep down, I wasn't even connected to myself. It felt like a dream state. It felt like this depression, this postnatal depression, was something that I couldn't even latch onto. You know, we've all been sad and there's a reason for sadness. But with this, for me, it was, I don't feel anything. Feel dream statey. Is this real? Is this not real? It was weird. So then to try and take my life, it was, and there's still some parts that I'm not okay with saying just yet. And there will be a time that I feel the strength in the power of sharing. But for right now, this is the parts that I can share. So going back home when I couldn't put Eva down anywhere, thank God, and then bouncing back in my body. And when I say bouncing back in my body, it was like I woke up. It was like I had been hit in the face with a sledgehammer of like reality. What has just happened? And that needed to happen for me to have that wake up call. I think I would have still just been meandering through this like nothingness. So, you know, put on Facebook, you should all know this story, but put on Facebook if anybody wants to. Is everybody finding parenting shit? Was the line. I'm going for a walk. Because it wasn't that I was without a community. I feel like I was without my like-minded people. So like loneliness isn't being physically alone, because I was surrounded by people all of the time. It was more about who gets this in this time? Because as women, as mothers, there is something chemically that happens that you actually forget all the shitty times of being a new mum. And it's because the world needs us to reproduce again. And if you really remembered how terrible things were, and some people have it wonderful, like, it's not what I'm saying, but, you know, that's why we can't really remember the actual pain of labour. You just go, I know that wasn't amazing at all. And then moving forward, all of the different things, the sleep deprivation, not being able to eat, not being able to drink, there was a moment through the C-section that I couldn't even wipe my own arse. Dale had to wipe my bum. God bless Dale. Because I couldn't twist. You forget how much, well, you don't even realise how much your body has to do something to be able to move somewhere. So you forget them things because they need us to reproduce again. So I don't know what I'm talking about in this moment, but all I know is I needed people that got it in that moment, because my friends around me had forgotten. I didn't want to be ringing them at 3:00 in the morning or message them saying, oh, my nipples are killing. Like, because they're asleep with 6-year-olds. They don't get it. They've forgotten it. They're not in that season of life. So, yeah, I had to find my new village. And it was the best thing that's ever happened. Absolutely. So, I think you need to find whatever that thing is that makes you feel alive. And that could be joining a running club, going to a gym, reading, like a book club, joining a book club, something that you can start off reaching out online, but then that physical connection is so much more powerful than sitting behind a keyboard. I feel like everybody needs to get out and put themselves in awkward situations that is going to change their existence, give them something to be excited about. I'll tell you now, I love baby yoga. I love all the lovely ladies that do it, but I'm getting shit all out of that. And Eva was asleep for most of it. Like, you've got to find, I say this all of the time, head of the household. If she's happy, healthy, sustained, engaged, then the rest of the family, it will filter down. So find your thing, find your people, and just get out and make yourself feel uncomfortable to then be comfortable and really happy in this new season, this 2.0 version of yourself. I'm in 4.0. Tell you why. 1.0 was original Kayleigh living her best life pre-mam. 2.0 was after Freddie. Again, had a wonderful experience with Freddie. Hypnobirthed. He was out within 4 hours. I was Mother Earth. No drugs. I felt like that's what being mother was. And then third time, no, horrendous. Nervous breakdown. Awful. The worst experience of my life. And now 4.0, this woman who's done a lot of work, gone into therapy, done a lot of couples therapy, done a lot of self-development, and has this purpose. And I'm not saying everybody has to have, a complete change of career and go out there and just selfishly move through the world, but you need to find that thing that fills you up, basically. So I think I'd like to phone Julie. Now, Julie's never been on the podcast. Julie is my right-hand woman in Mama Social Co. Julie started off as my first ever parent lead. Me and Julie go a little way back. We actually went to drama school in London together. Didn't speak for 10 years, potentially. 9 years, can't remember. And then she started following Mama Social Co, and she's a mum coach. So she was like, this just fits with everything that I am. And she was our first ever volunteer, which then rolled it quickly into a paid member of staff. And I'm so grateful for her. But Julie has such a gorgeous way of talking about the need in a community, in a village, in your support network. So I thought it would be really nice while our Loza is on the side of a road fuming, needing a wee. I thought it would be a really lovely moment to get Julie on and talk about that. Hello, Miss Julie.
Hello.
So I have a little iPad down here in front of me so I can see our Julie. But I know I always throw things at you at the last minute, because I rang you 10 minutes ago and said, we need you to talk about the modern village and how you get through motherhood. Just a bit of a sharing. So I've already done your introduction, but if you would like to give your own introduction of who you are and how you're involved in Mama Social Co, go for it.
Sure. Well, I'm Julie, based in Lancashire, and I am the social and community manager at Mama Social. So I take care of anybody that wants to get involved with Mama Social as a volunteer. That's across the whole of the UK. And I also do all our social media content over on Instagram. So fueling my creativity as well. So yeah, bringing you guys together and also showcasing our brand awareness over on Instagram, which is super fun.
It is super fun. It's also overwhelming sometimes for all of us to be doing so
I missed
much.
all that bit out, yeah. Missed a couple of the other job specifications out, but you don't need to see the whole list.
So, Julie, tell me about your essentials for moving through motherhood. What are the things that you need as... I've said you're a mum coach as well. What are your non-negotiables to get through life as a mother?
The first thing that springs to mind is having a balance and boundaries. So with the balance thing, I definitely feel like it's a necessity and non-negotiable that I have things that happen throughout my week and daily life that are solely for me, whether that means I have to bring the kids along or not. Usually it's a not if it's solely for me, but just, whether it's like going to the gym, going for a walk on my own. And one of the things I do take my kids along to is obviously the walks with Mama Social. That is like a non-negotiable so that I can connect with other people. I think the underlying thing is connection, like whether that's connecting with my own thoughts on my own or connecting with other people, and just having that outlet away from the normal mundane, the everybody needing me. So finding that balance of having time alone, time with connecting with other adults, so on an adult level, as alongside me being a mom and feeling like everyone's demanding everything of me. But I feel like in order for me to survive, I need that headspace. I need that
Yeah.
time alone. And it does take a long time for me. Well, it did take me a long time to sort of get to that point. I think when you're in the trenches, those first few months, say the first 3 months of like that newborn phase, you don't feel you have that time. But as soon as there's an opportunity for it, I've always said to myself, the non-negotiable is to make that time for myself because I deserve it and I need it to be the best version of me. But also, be the best version of me means they get the best version of their mom as well.
Yeah. I think I know we get a couple of messages from people saying, I want to come, but I want to come to me first ever. I've got if anybody's watching, I've got a dodgy ear that headphones don't sit in, so these just keep falling out my ear. So we're just going with one headphone. But we get messages from parents saying, I want to come, but I'm actually, I'm scared, or I'm nervous, or I'm uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. I think making friends as an adult is a really strange concept because we're expected, society expects us to have our friends at school and they're our only friends for life. But I know I've had different groups of friends and people stay with you for a very long time, but it doesn't mean that you have to constantly surround yourself with them people because they're going through different things. So is there anything that you would suggest if anybody's feeling like they need some more adult connection and chat that they should do?
Yeah, I do have something on that. And I just wanted to say on the back of what you said, often through the different seasons of our lives, we need different people. And it's also good to know that if you don't have anybody, that's okay, because you might be in a season that those people you knew before or were connected to before don't fit that like criteria of the person that you need right now, especially in motherhood, where you might have friends with older children, you might have friends that don't have any children, that can't level with you, that can't resonate, that can't give you that solidarity you need. So on the back of that, I would say for somebody thinking of coming along that does feel those kinds of ways, that doesn't feel comfortable or is apprehensive of going to a group where they don't know anybody, but they know they need that connection. First and foremost, all of the groups, I know for a fact, aren't clicky. They're always there's a nice group usually of like OGs, the ones that come through their entire maternity leave, and no doubt they're there for that full 9 months. But a lot of the time, you'll get new people coming in, at least one or two each week, where you're never the only new one. You're never the only person that doesn't know anybody on that walk. And remind yourself that actually being outside in nature is going to make you feel a little bit more comfortable, regardless of whether you're with others or not. And you're not going to have that invasive face-to-face conversation off the bat. You can walk side by side, you can walk in silence. I almost think that like actually having a baby or a child with you is like a comfort blanket. So you can always talk about your child. Like any mother knows they can talk about their child, whether it's how much they slept, how much they pooped. Like there's always that initiative for that conversation. But yeah, I just think you've got to remind yourself of the benefits on the other side of it. So when you come home from the walk, how are you going to feel versus if you don't go at all? So like actually when you come home, and this is something a lot of the parents that come on our walk say, is like they came feeling tired, lethargic, down, a bit low, and when they leave they feel like a changed woman. Like they've been able to offload, they've been able to talk with strangers, people that are detached from their situation, and they get to meet other people that are probably in a very similar situation. So you've got to remind yourself how you're going to feel afterwards.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the parent leads, our volunteers, that we would be nowhere without them incredible humans that are like, I'm going to give up my time, an hour and a half a week, to build a community for not just myself, but for everybody else around. So I have this, it was only last week, somebody in a meeting said, I still don't understand why anybody would volunteer. And I'm like, I looked at him with like 45 eyes. I was like, what? I was like, they are getting so much from themselves as well. So if we don't have a session near, if let's say Jennifer from Yorkshire is listening, and Jennifer's like, I'm not traveling to Blackpool or wherever the closest one would be. Geography is not my skill set. What would they do? How would they get in touch? Can they build? Can they get involved?
Yeah. So, and I agree. I think, do you know what? Something I want to highlight is I've been a parent leave for almost 2 years now, and that's me still volunteering some of my personal time away from working, away from taking care of two young boys. But I do it because I can't let go of that rewarding feeling of being the person that facilitates those walks to get people outside and to see those friendships come to life and people make those bonds and connections. So I still do it. And that's because I want to give my time to see those sorts of things happen and to feel that reward and to also benefit from it myself because I work remotely, I have two young children. So it can still be very lonely. So for me to be able to get out the house and meet others.
Sorry, I'm laughing. Did you see
You
your camera? It went like all
know,
stars and like.
but yeah, if somebody wants to get involved, for example, like you say, they've seen the work we're doing, but unfortunately there isn't something in their area. The first, like when someone messages and asks, like, where's your nearest walk to so and so, I'll say, like, we don't, if it's somewhere we don't cover yet, I'll always suggest that it could be something they could get involved with and get started up. And it's about building that legacy. So they might start it and not necessarily have the time to continually do it forever. Obviously, that's quite a big, bold statement, but they can get it up and running, and other people within the community can continue that legacy for them. So if somebody wants to get in touch or wants to know if there's something going on in their area and they can get involved and help, it would be me they would get in touch with. We can send you a little sort of introduction video about who Mama Social are so you can get on board with the mission, find out what it entails to become a volunteer and what we expect sort of you. And then if it all sounds good to you, it's a super simple onboarding process where I just send you a load of stuff, basically, in the simplest format. I'll create some social posts for you so we can help you get that marketing advertised and make sure your community are aware and have exposure to that event that's going to be beginning, and then we get you started really. And obviously I'm your go-to if there's ever anything you need. I'll support you through that and we'll get the word out there and make sure that your walk is established. And yeah, it's just so rewarding. So if you are thinking about it and you're listening to this thinking, actually, I'd like to know a little bit more, perhaps this is something I could spare an hour and a half of my week for, like, don't hesitate, even if you just find out a little bit of information. But like I say, it's about starting that legacy and then continuing it throughout your community. Often it starts with just the one walk, and then somebody else gets involved 30 minutes down the road, and then it just grows like that, just as it did here in the Northwest and in many other places throughout the country.
You are a legend, and I know I say this every week to you, but you are my go-to person that just, when I'm having a moment, you're like, I've got you, Kayleigh. What do we need? So thank you so much for getting involved, and I will speak to you later.
Thank you. Lovely to have this moment. Enjoy the rest of your day, ladies.
Bye. Oh, Loz is back.
Are we going to be 10 minutes?
Like literally 5.
Oh my, I think you might even have to come with us for a wee night and hold the wee for 5 minutes, right?
You can hold away. Right, Lauren.
Kayleigh.
Tell me.
I don't.
Well, I know, but tell everybody what a horrendous. Where and what are you
Sorry,
doing?
I was just putting me blinds up.
Thought you were playing Nerf guns.
I've just had the worst morning ever, and it just got worse and it got worse, and then it got worse again.
Right, let's start from the beginning.
Um, so from the beginning is I've had a bit of a slow puncture in my tyre. It's not unusual for me. I live on a new build estate. I get nails in my tyres all the time. It's happened numerous times. So I've just been blowing my tyre up every so often. Really like clinging onto the tyre, do you know what I mean? Like just really wanted to get my money's worth. And some builders came this morning because we're getting some work done in the house, and he was like, "Here, you've got a slow puncture there, you know." I went, "Ah, no, man, I'm on my way to blow it up. Doing the school run, I'm going to blow it up." So on the school run, the car just started to feel a bit weird, and I thought, that's not right. That something's wrong with the tyre. Oh, we're reconnecting. Is that all right?
Yeah. Move further back though, because all I can see is your beautiful lips.
Pulled away.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry. So pulled up to drop Oaks off at the school run, looked at my tyre. My tyre was hanging off. It was hanging off.
In pieces.
Like it was actually ripped all round the thing and was hanging off my car. So then I thought, well, I'm not gonna get to the podcast on time. I've got no tyre to blow up. I can't drive. Oh God! And then Kayleigh came to save us. You came to save me
I did.
so that we could come and record the podcast together. And I had the tyre man en route to come and change the tyre. And then we realised that I had lost something called the lock nut, which you need to take a tyre off. Lost it, can't find it anywhere. Had the car upside down, had everything out the car, cannot find it. Even came home to look in the garage, looked in the cupboard under the stairs, looked everywhere where I thought it could possibly be. Can't find it. So can't change the tyre. Had to drive Glenn's car to the Volvo garage. They have to order us some wheel nut kit to find out which one that I need, which means that the car needs to go there. The car can't leave there, which means that they have to change my tyre, which means my tyre is now costing twice the price that I didn't even want to pay.
I got you a good coffee though.
You did get us a good coffee. Thanks so much. That really meant a lot. So then I've just had to go back to my car for a recovery man to come out. The recovery man didn't want to actually recover my car. So he has broke the wheel nut to get the spare wheel on so that I didn't have to sit and wait for a recovery truck for hours. So now I've just came home and I need to drive my car over to the Volvo garage. It's a nightmare.
But I'd said to you, you weren't meant to drive here today.
Yeah, I wasn't meant to get there today. Someone's looking after us. Something would have happened.
Imagine being on the A19 with that wheel.
I know. Thank God I wasn't on the motorway when that happened to me tyre.
There would have been no more lots of cause.
It's what the recovery man just said. He said, well, at least you're here to tell us about it. So, well, you do know that I'm driving the safest car in the world that ever exists as well. So I would have been all right.
Well, quickly, because I know we've got 1 minute. One, share your shit, just your opinion on it.
Okay, come on then.
Share your shit. Share your shit. So we got this from a man who clearly, if anybody's watching, had some sort of freak out whilst messaging this through because he's put every question known to man. So one question I'd like to get your opinion on is...
Okay.
Also, we both want to know if we both get to choose what type of belly button our daughter will get when she's born. Innie or out?
Right, 2 seconds, because that man's quite clearly taking the piss. That's not a question. That's not a real question.
It can't be, can it?
No, like, do you get to choose whether your child's a girl or a boy? Do you get to choose... I don't know. Like, that is the silliest question I've ever heard in my whole entire life.
Right, well, on that note...
Oh, well, this has been wonderful, guys. This is just short and sweet. I made it for 5 minutes.
7.
And now I have to get back and sort out more car problems, so...
Horrendous.
Can't wait to catch up next week.
So, do your thing. Let's close off this episode.
So yeah, please, if you are going to leave a review, don't really review this particular episode, because there's been better, but if you do want to like and subscribe, it would be really helpful actually, because then we might get some like paid sponsors and it could help pay for my tyres, because I'm going to have to mortgage the house now. So yeah, please, I beg.
Right, like, follow, send us your share your shits. We've got loads of share your shits this week, but there's no point in doing them without ours, Loza. Next week we will have that.
Yeah.
Okay, my love, you go off to the garage and I will see you next week.
This episode of Mama Social, the podcast, was filmed and produced by Flamingo Heights Podcast Studio.
Lauren, I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
I don't like
Why
you
you saying
saying
Lauren?
soon.
Just say see you soon.
Steve.
Because we're talking to our listeners.
Ah.
See you soon.